Okay, so before we start the battle with Andrew using the Age of Hannibal rules, I want to explain a few things about the battlefield itself. So, in my fantasy universe, these columns are used to delineate borders between kingdoms. So, the one over there and the one over here are the idea is that you can see them from one to the next to the next. And so people often fight around these columns because that means that you're on the kingdom borderlands, basically. Those are hills. Those are regular hills. It costs 1 inch exactly to go up a hill. Those are trees. The rocks, you can see these kinds of rocks here. You can't move through those, and you can't see through those as well. So those are immovable and no entry. You can't remove them during the game. They're not allowed to be removed. The trees, however, are allowed to be removed, and what I've done there is wherever you see trees, there's usually a template underneath the tree. So if you want to move into the woods, these are Gale Force 9 tree groups, and I like them because they're they're smaller scale. They fit the 10mm scale a little bit better. But you just remove them. If you want to move into them, just have a little template there, and you can put your guys and put them off to the side. And you'll see that during the battle, that happens quite a lot. That trees got moved into, and these just kind of hang off to the side, or we take them and we put them into the corner or whatever until units move out, and then you just align them and put them back, and you're good to go. In the middle of the battlefield here, this is what we're calling Ogre Rock, and there is a unit of ogres just hanging out there. The ogres are classed as warband in this game, and they're absolutely totally neutral. You can go up to them with a character, get anywhere on this muck, because this is a mucky, muddy area caused by the ogres, because they've made this area their encampment, basically. Same over there. There's just no ogres over there, but this is rough ground, mucky, muddy area. So by sending a character up and into, you just have to touch this area, and then you roll a d8 at the end of your turn. And on a 1, they'll actually attack you. On a 7 or an 8, you've successfully bribed them to join you, and you get to use them for the rest of the battle. Any other number is just pure apathy, and they won't. They'll just ignore you. However, if you send troops anywhere onto this muck, they're going to attack you. So characters can try and negotiate, but units cannot. So they'll just come after you if you haven't negotiated with them properly. We're using a 3x5 table for this. So it's 5 feet long, 3 feet wide. So setup and deployment is 6 inches in from the edges. And we are playing a 2,000 point battle.
Oh, you're videoing. Sorry. Yeah. 1, 2. They haven't moved. They haven't moved. They haven't moved. 3. Turned and faced. 4, 5.
Very good. Okay, so on my turn 2, I moved this cav here. Those are my heavy Valkyrie. The wolves are represented by, they're actually light horse. They're counting as light horse. So that was 1 command. 2 command here. This whole line moved up 3. Just 3 because the artillery is here. The reserve here, so that's 4, 5. And then bolt throwers on the hill, getting up on the hill. And over here, the fast cav with the flanking Valkyrie. That's what, 7 or 8? And then followed up by the spears in behind. So this guy, this character here, can now talk to, or try and bribe the Ogre Rock in the middle. And we're going to do that now and see what the ogres do.
Okay. You can do it live on camera if you want.
Oh, all right. So D8. A 7 or an 8, you can properly bribe them, and they become active for me. On a 1, they revert to Andrew. They'll attack me. Andrew gets to control that. Any other roll is no effect. Just pure apathy. And the roll is a 2. Nothing happens. Okay, Andrew, so for your turn 3, explain yourself.
So my light cavalry rear rankers moved out to the flank and faced the enemy. The remaining light cavalry and the archers just conform their facing. No movement yet in the center. We're still waiting for the enemy to decide what to do.
Mm-hmm.
This flank beginning to move around, bringing out a reserve unit of spears here as well. We'll wait and see what happens with the enemy cavalry.
Okay, sounds good. Conservative. It's good.
Go for it.
Okay, so turn 3, these guys stayed in place. First thing we did though was the shooting. So we have mages in this game that act like artillery. They have the same shots as artillery. So I fired my fireball or my magic missile into these trolls here, which are a warband. Got a hit. The artillery here actually shot into here. Seeing as they're not going to join me, I'm going to destroy them. So the artillery here shot into the ogres, into the ogre encampment, did some damage. That was it for shooting. And then these guys stayed put, but everybody else has just slowly moved forward. This front line here is divided into 2 sections now to go around this rock. And then artillery up on the hill, moving right to the edge, waiting for somebody to come in range. And then these guys, fast cav, stayed put with the spear reserve moving up behind. And that was it. Okay, Andrew's turn 4. Andrew, explain yourself.
So the troll warband moved forwards to threaten the cavalry and put themselves well within charge reach. Limit the cavalry's movement moving forwards. Spears move up in support. Second unit of spears reforms facing in the correct direction. Center remains stationary. The light cavalry on this flank begin to deploy to threaten the enemy mixed cavalry. And we'll see what happens after that.
So my turn 4. These guys stay put. In the shooting phase, we unsuccessfully blasted those guys, so they didn't get any worse. I think that was it for shooting. Nothing else was in 45. This was no longer in the 45 of the ogres. So in the impetuous, these ogres had to go in and impetuously, or I chose to not rally them I wanted them to go in. This one couldn't make it, so I kind of stayed behind because he would have hit the rock. So we got an impetuous fight in there. These guys moved up just to form the line. Moved up into some bad terrain in here with, these are lights. These aren't archers, they're light infantry. Artillery moved off, so now I've got a really good artillery battery here, so to speak. These guys over here did they split off from the giant, so they're going to go this way. They do really good in light terrain. Light infantry in bad terrain is really good. And then I decided to charge my heavy cavalry Valkyrie into Andrew's lights, and with any luck, that should be no contest. Everybody else just moved up so that these guys couldn't be flanked. And then the reserve spears followed up behind. That's it, and we're gonna, now we actually get to fight some combats. That was the end of my turn 4. Okay, so at the end of turn 5, we actually had some combats, but what did you do during your moves?
So during my moves, the troll warbands charged into the stationary cavalry. The combat result was that my warband killed the light cavalry it hit,
yep,
and being impetuous, pursued into the heavy cavalry behind them.
Yep.
On the other side of the table, my light horse charged into the disordered heavy horse, but were unsuccessful and took a disordered result. The disordered light horse beside them convincingly lost their fight and are destroyed. So a definite advantage to the heavy cavalry on the north side.
And you moved your...
And I've moved these cavalry forwards in support, and are now within charge reach of the Norse light horse. My archers move forward slightly,
A little bit, yeah.
just to conform and come within range of the enemy cavalry. If they sit there for long enough, everything else is still stationary and waiting.
That's right, stayed put. But at the end of the turn, you did more damage than I did, so my morale clock went down to an 8.
Okay, so both armies are now on an 8 morale.
8 morale. Good. Okay, so the end of my turn 5. This combat, first thing we did was rally. Hardly anything rallied. There was one rally. I forget what it was, but it wasn't really important. And then in the shooting phase, I got quite a number of disruptions over here on Andrew's light cav. And then it was move, and we've just fought the combats, and in here, this ended up actually not going my way. This is really stuck. In the movement phase, I moved some of my light infantry through the muck and the wood in here. This giant is making its way on its own. I did manage to flank the ogres camped in here, and through the combat got one disorganized on them, but that was it. Everybody else has just moved forward. This artillery piece got a good shot in on these on your archers, on the orc archers, and did a disorganized. But then in here, this was where most of the action happened. So the supporting cav here, the supporting Valkyrie here, flanked and ended up being a double D that Andrew got destroyed because it was flanked. And then in here, I got the worst of it with my light cav. These werewolves are counted as light horse, Jav cav essentially. So, but there was enough damage done to Andrew this turn to make him lower his clock at least one more. So on to turn 6. Okay, so Andrew, at the end of turn 6, a lot happened.
Yeah. So the disorganized troll warband moved aside, allowing the spears to charge into the light horse, who were disorganized in the following combat. The Valkyrie unit, which had been previously disorganized by the trolls, was now destroyed in the second round of combat.
Yeah.
These spears moved up to fill the slight gap in the line. The main line has now started to advance, so the troll warband on the hill, the main battle line, and the supporting archers all move forwards a full move. On this flank, the light horse here had moved onto the flank of the disordered light horse, which then lost the subsequent melee and was destroyed. And this light horse, fighting hard with some luck on the dice, managed to disorder the elite heavy cavalry facing it.
Unbelievable. Beat the odds on that.
Yeah.
And
that's it. And indeed, the second reserve line also moved forwards.
in here in the center, the ogres that were fighting me got destroyed. Yeah, they were flanked. Andrew rolled the dice for them, and my guys failed their rally roll and had to advance a full in bad terrain. So that's why they're disorganized, because they had to advance 4 and take a disorganization for that. And that's it for Andrew's turn 6.
Yeah. So still an even game.
Okay, so the end of my turn 6. Over here, the Valkyrie that were fighting the trolls, they won. Miraculously, this was a victory for me by 1, considering spear versus mounted with support. I got stupid lucky on that. In the movement turn, these guys advanced to turn face and met these guys to just form a group. There was no movement in here. I did split off some hand weapon shields over here to go into this gap because this is going to become very busy very shortly. In the shooting phase, these Norse bolt throwers did really well against the archers here out in the open. I arranged them by just enough that I could shoot them, but they can't shoot me. And then in here, these combats went really well. Killing a light horse, the wargs in here, and then again over here there was another. So, but these guys are elite. These guys are elite, so they're doing the job. Yeah, so I've got a lot of rallying. You can see there's a lot of yellow is single rally. The red here in the game is double rally. So there's a lot of rallying going on to start Andrew's turn 7. Okay, so we just finished Andrew's turn 7. Andrew, what happened?
So the fighting was a little more favourable to me. There was some initial shooting which forced a retreat on this guy. The ogres in the middle, who are now double disorganised. And there was some thrown weapon shooting against these elite cavalry, which fortunately disordered them and will make it a bit more difficult for them to charge anybody next turn.
Yeah, I lost 4 disorganized markers just from shooting alone.
Yeah,
this turn.
There's another one here and another one here, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Then, in terms of movement, my spearmen lapped around onto the flank of these cavalry, who are finally beginning to look a bit shaky. They've been fighting very well. My war bands are hanging in there, but this one took a disordered retreat and is now double disordered.
He lost to the
light infantry.
To the lights in there that have turned to face their flankers.
Yeah. So there's a fight there to go on. That's approximately equal, but this giant might have something to say about it soon. Spears have nevertheless, they've advanced to put some pressure here. This warband has advanced and is in range to charge the elephants and artillery next turn. The ogres in the center, as we said, fell back from the shooting. Meanwhile, the center of my battle line with its reserve has continued to advance. These archers are a little bit shaky because of all the shooting at them, but that pressure will be relieved because now the shooting will have to go in on the battle line. The cavalry here is just hanging on. It's a losing battle now. They certainly didn't do as well as I hoped they might. So this unit was fighting these wolves and took a disordered retreat and is now double disordered. So this fight's probably over soon. But they took some people with them, and there is still some disorder there that needs to be cleared up.
There's so much disorder there, I can't attack you with that. So, yeah. So this is the end.
So that's it. So the plan is that the elite troops in the middle of the line just keep marching forward now that the flanks have kind of fixed themselves.
And that's the end of Andrew's turn 7. Okay, so the end of my turn 7. I managed to rally three different units, so the rally status of my army is pretty good now. Giant ran in here to flank these trolls. This ended up being a combat that was a draw, unfortunately, because he's the flanker. These guys are the main attackers, so because they didn't attack at the same time, this combat is going on. Over here, I did lose my, I lost my werewolf cavalry, light cavalry in here. It's just too much going on. These spearmen were in an excellent position because not only were they flanking here, but they're also supporting in the combat in here against the Valkyrie heavy cav, which hung on and actually won this one, putting a D onto this unit of spearmen. But that's a very bad position. Let's see, nothing really happened in here. There was an impetuous charge in here by the these ogres. These ogres are called Warband Impetuous, so they charged in there, and they did manage to get a win on a very even roll. These guys are still hanging out in the wind. Let's see, did not move the center because my morale clock is down to 6, so the important stuff happened on the outside. The artillery in here did really well. Managed to destroy one of Andrew's archers in here. Get another D on this, which forced it back. So that was good. So I think it was like 3 or 4 off the morale clock right off the bat from shooting alone. And then in here, these combats went mostly my way. This was a destruction in here against Light Cav, which has been removed. But in here, this didn't go well at all. This was just a single D. I was lucky to get it with the numbers that were rolled. In here, these guys have moved into position for next turn, and I've moved my this is one of my lieutenants. He's moved up and attached to this to help it rally next turn. So I'm hoping there's some future there for that. But other than that, currently at the end of turn 7, my morale clock is set at 6 and Andrew's is set at 5. Just over here on my morale clock, which has been lowered to 5, so that'll tell you how well this turn went. Andrew, explain yourself.
So the spears on the flank are finally whittling away at the cavalry. Cavalry lost rather disadvantaged combat and are now disorganized. My trolls here were just double disorganized from earlier and haven't rallied. Over here, a bit of luck on my side, but I managed to disorder both the light infantry and the giant with my warband and spears. Over here, my warband from the center was an impetuous charge, and they lost the combat and took a disordered. Over here, my second warband unit was able to lap onto the flank, and with that advantage I disordered the enemy ogres. These archers just advanced. Their shooting did eliminate the disordered ogre unit that was in the center earlier. First attack line charged with a reasonable amount of success. I took 1 disorder in the difficult terrain, which was to be expected. I think I was at a disadvantage here, but wiped out 2 enemy units in the center of the enemy line.
And those look like archers, but we're playing them as light infantry. So
yeah, and 1 on the end of the line was disordered. Notably, although I'd put my sub-general here to add an extra oomph to the attack, they only managed to draw with the light infantry against them. So we'll be conducting an assessment of battle performance afterwards. Otherwise, up here, my reserve line moving up in support of the attack. Yep. I did turn off some units to face the flank because the remainder of the Norse cavalry is in a threatening position here. So it's a bit of a race to see how much damage I can do to the center versus how long I can hold up this flank. The morale clocks are even. The next turn is unfortunately Dave's turn, so my morale clock might go to 4 before his does.
I think it is. I think for sure it is.
But the fights that are happening are probably now fights where I have an advantage in most cases, because the disadvantageous fight, which I had been losing, has now been completely lost.
Yep. So on to Dave's turn 8.
Yep.
Okay, so at the end of turn 8, Dave's turn 8, I got a few shots off. There were a couple of hits, but nothing magnificent happened. Over here, when I moved, I managed to finally charge a... Come on, zoom in. I managed to finally get a mammoth in here. Mammoths do count as elephants in Age of Hannibal, so this went in, did a demoralization. This came out lucky for me, and I demoralized the trolls in front of me. Over here, hand weapon shield. Even throwing in my commander, I lost that one. The giant had to back up, took a second D and had to back up. But in here, this went well for me. So the trolls in front were demoralized. The Valkyrie over here are hanging in. The Valkyrie count as heavy cavalry elite. And so they did pretty well to demoralize after being surrounded by spearmen. And then over here, so this monster line, because I lost 2 units in here, 2 of my Berserker hand weapon shields went in, and I managed to do a double D on them and back them up, because that's what they do. They have wild charge. These guys all have wild charge. There was a lap around here that helped me defeat a whole unit in here as well.
You did lose 2 units on the other side.
I did. There's 2 units missing here, and these guys are going to go in and fill that space up. You bet. And then over here, yeah, the elite Valkyrie cavalry finally destroyed all the light cav over here, all the warg riders. So this is pretty good. But you can see, so yellow markers equals disorganized, red markers equals double disorganized, and Andrew moved his clock down to 4. So now he has to apply, he just counted up his units. He's got 31 units on the table, so he has to apply 8 demoralization markers somehow to his army, his choice. So we just finished Andrew's turn 9, and it was a glorious turn for him battle-wise. See me checking here's my morale clock going down to 4.
So
I definitely lost that.
Even. Yes.
10 losses in the turn from dead or shooting. Okay, so what'd you do, Andrew?
Okay, so there were some difficult choices about which units could move because I only had 4 points. Fortunately, I had a general who was a tactician, which gave me an extra move for a small unit that he was with, and that gave me just enough flexibility to get things going. So starting over on this side, fighting the Valkyries, there was no need to move anything. Similarly with the trolls against the light infantry, no need to move anything. There was a giant here, which I used one of my orders to charge with these guys, and as you can see, that charge was successful. The giant's no longer there.
Yeah, he was in bad terrain and was doubly demoralized.
Yes.
Right. So that wasn't fair at all.
Yeah. It wasn't fair, but he's dead. Here, static fight, warband against elephants. The elephants had a slight advantage in the fight, and now I'm disorganized. Here, the ogres were originally in this position. I was able to use a free adjustment move, courtesy of my nearby general, to bring these in on the flank of the warband in this position and counter support, and with their help managed to force the ogres to retreat, now double disorganized.
Yep, double D and backed up.
These archers just move forwards into a threatening position. They're in difficult terrain, so slightly more secure against elephants and some other infantry. This general is the tactician, and so he could move them as a free move.
Yeah, each of us has a mage in this game, so...
Yeah, my mage has mostly been more useful as a tactician to get an extra order.
Yeah.
My support line has now moved up to within charge reach of the enemy center. I moved my general up to support this pike block, and with his support, with his help, was able to demoralize them. The other general that had been commanding the front line was now able to take this set of pikemen into the Berserker warband. I wanted to charge them before they charge me, because their charge gets a significant bonus.
They're Berserker hand weapon shield guys.
And that was very successful. I've eliminated one and disorganized the other.
Yep.
This hand weapon shield infantry was able to charge the artillery unit that was here and disorganized, and that is now dead as well.
Easily took it out.
So overall a successful turn, even up the morale clock. Couldn't make all the moves I wanted over here to try and protect the flank, but this giant, who counts as an elephant for game purposes, was able to at least make a move and obstruct the enemy heavy cavalry, and he's the best unit I've got in the circumstances to stand them off in a fight.
Yep. All right, and now we're on to Dave's turn 9. Now my morale clock is at 4, and I've just counted up the guys. I have 28 guys on the board right now, so I gotta assign 7 demoralization markers, and unfortunately I'm gonna assign them to things that I don't think are gonna rally anymore. So this guy's attached, so I can't get rid of that. So, but normally I would. These guys are elite. They're holding up. You know what? They're holding up there, so I'm not gonna change them. But I think this here, I'm gonna assign 1 marker to here, and take these ogres off. So that's 1 of 7. I think I will assign 3 to these lights and get rid of them. So that's 4 of 7. I'm gonna get rid of these guys. These guys are impetuous, and they're kind of out of the fight. So there's my other 3 right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take that out. So that's 7 markers. And on to my turn 8.
Okay, you're on.
Okay, so my turn 9 finished. Over here, so I've only got 4 on my morale clock right now. So nothing happened over here. I left the Valkyrie where they were. There was a fight in here. I managed to push the trolls back, so that was good. These guys stayed put. I couldn't move them out of the way, so they're hanging in the wind. But there was a victory in here that have pushed the spearmen back. So there's a lot of red over here. There's a lot of double demoralizations. The elephants won here and lost here, unfortunately. That was surprising. And then all along here, I handled myself pretty well. The berserkers in here. Was that a draw, or did I just take that?
You just took that.
Okay, so there's one. There's one. Nothing happened in here. In fact, I won this one just by 1. So these pikemen here, we're using the War Games Atlantic halberdiers as pikemen. They represent pikes. So they lost by 1. It was really close. In here, this elephant charged in, and so these guys have turned a face. They disorganized by 1. And then over here I managed the Valkyrie in the front. The general took the light cav into the rear, and that ended up being a doubling up on the dice roll. So Andrew lost his giant there. That's it. The shooting was awful. The shooting did nothing. So it all came down to combat. Andrew's morale clock now is at 3. Mine's at 4, and we're starting turn 10.
So my morale clock's dropped from 4 to 3. I have to assign another 7 demoralization points. And it's getting tough at this stage of the game. I think the first 2 of these troll warbands, they've all fought hard. They would need 8s to rally in any case, so not much chance of getting them back. So that's 2 of my 7, so I've got 5 left to go. I'll think about those spearmen.
You could probably lose one of these spearmen over here without affecting the game too much.
This is what I'm thinking. I can take 2 from there
Yeah.
So I lost, that leaves me 3 left to lose,
Yeah.
which is 1 or 2 more units. It's not too bad.
What's it gonna be?
I think I've got 3 to lose, right?
3 more.
That's 2 if I take that off.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 more to assign. Take these guys off. That's it. So my 7 points, 5 units gone.
Very good. Tough decision, but that's what makes this game so fun. Okay, Andrew, that was the end of your turn 10.
Okay.
So tell us
it
what
turned
happened.
out it was not such a bad turn after all. I only had 3 on the morale clock and no effective shooting. So for my 3 points, this unit of spearmen attacked the doubly disordered unit of swordsmen that had been hiding in the woods.
Yep.
And destroyed them in close combat. Against the elephants here, I had 2 units of disorganized troll warbands.
Yep.
Or 1 had been removed in the previous turn because of my morale clock. The remaining 1 fought and lost despite the assistance of these archers on the elephant's flank. Fortunately, it didn't completely die, but it's now down to 2 double disorder.
Yep.
Over here, my giant charged in and
Well, that whole line did, didn't
well,
it?
the whole line charged in, yes,
Yeah.
in support of this unit. So 3 new units came in. I have to say it was somewhat mixed success. The giant charged in and completely eliminated the light infantry facing it. However, the sword and shield infantry coming in support failed miserably and died to the enemy light infantry.
Doubled up.
And this unit of sword and shield against the enemy warband fought a bit harder, but is still disorganized. Nevertheless, this extra support did allow my general and his unit to destroy the opposing warband unit. The one thing of particular note is that the light infantry that were here were accompanied by the enemy's general. And following a roll on the fate table, that general was captured, so that's an immediate penalty of -1 on the morale clock.
So that took me down to 3, right?
Which took you down to 3.
Yeah.
The fight here, which was heavily in favor of the orcs, nevertheless the orcs lost, but luckily only took a single disorder. This orc unit of sword and shield decided that best defense was an offense, charged the enemy elephant since they didn't want to deal with the enemy elephant charging them, and were fortunate to inflict a disrupted result on the elephant.
They did well.
So maybe an even fight next turn if no one else gets involved. The end result of all this was that the casualties inflicted reduced the Norse morale clock by a further 1. So his morale clock is now down to 2, which means it's going to be very little movement going on the Norse side next turn.
And I have to remove 25% twice.
For dropping to 3 and then for dropping to 2.
And then for dropping to 2.
Yeah.
So I've got to I got to count my dudes, and I'll show you what that looks like after I remove my casualties. All right. So I've already eliminated. So when I dropped to 3, I've already eliminated 6. Or I had 6 demoralization points to assign. Now I'm down to 20 stands. It's 5 demoralization points to assign. That Valkyrie over there might be a lost cause. I don't know. Yeah, against spears, that Valkyrie is probably a lost cause. This Valkyrie isn't going to make it into the fight, so I'm going to take that off for 3. I think I will assign for the last 2. I'll put demoralize here and demoralize here. These guys have a decent chance of rallying. Do they? Artillery?
Artillery rallies on a 5.
Rally on a 5, and no one. It doesn't affect their shooting at all. So yeah, so that's fine. That's going to be my 5 for me heading into turn 10. So the end of my turn 10. Nothing's moved over here. I only have 2 commands that I can give. So the 2 that I gave were charge the elephant in here and finish off the troll, because I definitely thought that was going to be a kill. And what else? Oh, the other was over here with the Valkyrie heavy cav. He turned into and attacked this hand weapon shield front on. The character moved in for support in there as well. My mage actually moved over here to help out with this, and nothing happened. So that was a draw. So nothing happened. That was a disorganized from the previous turn. That's it. I've only got 2 guys on the table. I did manage to shoot and destroy with artillery a unit of pikemen here that Andrew had, and his guys were his commander was attached to it. His general was attached to it, but on the fate table he rolled escape. So his general ended up here. So no move on the morale clock there. But at the end of the turn, Andrew has lost the morale clock for that turn. So now he's down to. You've moved it down to 2, right?
Yeah, I'm down to 2.
So we're both at 2 heading into turn 11. Okay, so Andrew had to take off 4 points.
So I took off one of the spearmen here. There were 2. There's now 1. So that's 3 points. And then I assigned 1 point to this unit of pikemen, who's in no particular danger at the moment and just providing support for the adjacent unit, and a reasonable chance to rally them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my
4.
That's my points.
On to turn 11.
Yep.
Okay, Andrew's just finished his turn 11.
Yep.
And there wasn't much to do.
Yeah, a slow turn. In terms of movement, I used one order to. I had 2 orders. I used 1 order to bring this giant into contact with the light infantry in the woods. Turned out it wasn't such a great idea because I'm now disorganized. And I used my other order to bring these archers and charge this stationary elephant. That worked out okay, and that elephant is now disorganized. So I guess 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I'll take those combination of results. These archers in combat against this disorganized elephant resulted in my archers now becoming disorganized as well.
Yeah.
Not too surprising. And here I now had 2 units of pikes fighting the disorganized warband. They are now doubly disordered and were forced to retire.
Which is actually a good result for me.
Yeah, it means I have to use an order of one of my 2 orders to go after them next turn. So
if you want to.
yeah. So that is it. In terms of the morale clock, it was tied at 2 each, which isn't even enough to reduce anybody's morale. So we go on to the next turn completely tied.
Okay, turn 11 just happened. I had 2 orders to give. One order was I brought my my berserkers, hand weapon shield berserkers, in here to support this. So if I won it, he would have to back up. He would get a second D, have to back up. He couldn't. He would have been dead. As it turns out, I took the D. Then there was a fight. Where was the other order I gave? Oh, the other order I gave was in here. Finally moving these hand weapon shields over against your spears, hoping that something would happen in there. That's a fight you don't want to have. But the combat's all around. This general over here used his move to a full move for a single unit to go into hand weapon shields in the woods. And this is that was a D, so talk about demoralized in there. But the kicker was in here. So this ended up being a kill. yeah, this ended up being a double up, right?
Yes.
It was a double up, and his mage was attached to the unit. One of his lieutenants was attached to the unit. Fate roll on the table ended up being at 2, which means that he was instantly killed. The clock goes down by 1. Andrew lost this round. We got our clocks over 5, and so Andrew actually dropped 2 this turn. So his
Morale clock goes to 0.
morale clock went to 0, and that is the end of the game. That was well played. That was it was a good long game. It was a lot of fun. It proves that Age of Hannibal can be used for fantasy games, right?
No problem.
Yeah. All you do is you equate the different units with the historical units, and show them the screen that we use. So there's a television. There's a television in the game room, and I always take the QRS and just put it up on screen so that while we're playing, we've got quick and easy access to it. So, but yeah, that takes it down to 0, and that's the end of the game.
Yeah.